There are two types of gamers, and for the last few years they've been at each other's throats. One of them insists that the other is trying too hard, while the other says that they're not trying hard enough. I'm of course talking about sweats and casuals. Casual players hate sweats, and they're always calling them out, but sweats return the energy by dominating the casuals and dancing on them. Pick a side. New MMO. It didn't always used to be this way though. Casual players have always been around, but sweats? That's a term that's relatively new. Where did they come from? I think that sweats exist because of what I see as a skill gap, one that has been growing wider as gaming becomes more popular. In recent years, video games have become more popular than ever, and as a consequence, the benefits of being good at them have increased as well. If you're good enough at gaming, you can make a career out of it, whether it be from your own house or in a stadium. At the very least, you can impress much more people compared to when gaming was less mainstream. Being good at games is a great way to make friends, and it can also open up opportunities. So people are trying harder at video games. But a lot of us still only see it as a hobby, hence a skill gap between people who are trying extremely hard and those who are taking gaming more casually. A sweat is someone at the highest end of the spectrum. These are the players who take games the most seriously, always trying their hardest, and going out of their way to practice until they master whatever game they choose to concentrate on. The word sweat being used because they're so amped up to win that they perspire. Sweats are known for doing whatever it takes to win, even being strategic with cosmetics. Fortnite has the most impressive skin catalog in gaming, but rather than choosing Goku or Master Chief, a sweat will opt in for this, whatever this is. Speaking of Fortnite, I think that was the game where I first started hearing the term sweat be used. I think it's because the people who were good at Fortnite stood out due to how new the game was. Because of its building mechanic, there had never been a game quite like it. No one really knew the best way to use building, nor had the reflexes developed to be quick at it. So everyone started on a level playing field. That was until the addition of the Playground game mode, which dramatically shifted the game's competition. Playground mode allowed players to practice core mechanics like editing as much as they wanted, without all the distractions the main island entailed. The people who chose to concentrate on training these skills in the playground got way better than people who didn't care to, and thus the distinction between sweats and casual players was born. A casual player is someone who does not take games as serious. In this case, it was anyone who didn't think practicing in the playground was worth it. Being a casual can be a choice, someone who just wants to take games easy, but it can also be a requirement. Jobs and responsibilities can prevent someone from being anything more than a casual gamer, which is a very important thing to note. Have you ever heard this before?
Oh my gosh, that guy has no life. That player is such a sweat. What a tryhard. I secretly desire connection.
These are the types of callouts I've been hearing ever since the term sweat became a thing. And it's not just in Fortnite. You can find people complaining about sweats on Call of Duty, Apex Legends, League of Legends, and even Bed Wars. Why are sweats getting hate? Well, that's a pretty easy question to answer. One might say that they ruin games by trying too hard, being too sweaty. But the resentment that many casual players have for sweats is personal. It is passionate. I mean, the primary thing that people say to sweats in game chat is that they have no life. And that's one of the more polite insults. For a lot of people, hating on sweats is a full-time job, and it feels like over the last 7 years, my comms have been filled with people doing just that, vocally. Most of the time, the person they're complaining about has no connection to my team and no way to hear them. They are yelling at a wall, and yet they will say all that, talk about how this person is a loser, while ironically being a crybaby about it. Okay, I might as well fully reveal my feelings about this. I actually find myself getting more annoyed by people complaining about sweats than actual sweats dancing on me. Now at this moment you might be thinking, Double Agent, you're a sweat yourself, aren't you? No, as much as I wish I was good enough to be considered a sweat on most games, I am definitely not. I wish I was. Like I said, there's a lot of advantages to being good at games. Hopping into duos with your boss is the new golf. There are only 2 games that I have ever been good enough for my abilities to be considered sweaty. Just trying hard does not make you eligible to be a sweat, by the way. You gotta be good too. I mean, have you ever called someone at the bottom of a leaderboard a sweat just because they're trying really hard? No. You can't be sweaty without the stats to prove it. Even if you are trying hard, no one will care if you're bad. A sweat is someone who tries extra hard and is exceptionally good. So, what games have I been exceptionally good at? The first one is Dead by Daylight Killer Side. Throw me in any lobby with a decent build on any killer, and there is a 90% chance I will win. Even if I'm going against tier 100 survivors with toxic flashlight builds, no one ever gets away from me. The only way I can have fun in that game is by debuffing myself and letting people get away. I have to let people get away from chases and use bad perks. I think I'm just really good at tag. The second game that I was really good at is Brawl Stars, which is a mobile game made by Titan Supercell. I played so much Brawl Stars in high school and was so good with Nita that I was in a club on the United States leaderboard, and I wasn't even a day 1 player. I used to low-key worry that I would be addicted to Brawl Stars forever because boy was that game good. I had no idea how I was going to stop playing. Like I was seriously concerned, is this going to follow me into college? Am I going to be addicted to this game forever? But then Supercell made the game bad. The Supercell cycle of greed came in and made the game so unplayable that I was able to return to being a functioning member of society. I was insane at that game, but then they just made it bad. So like it wasn't fun anymore. And I was grateful. I'm like, you know, I don't know why you chose to make your game bad, but I'm glad you did because now I don't have to play it anymore. So yeah, not the most impressive lineup. The point is I'm not good enough at any popular games to be a sweat myself. I may try hard, but you're not gonna notice. In most FPS games, I will almost always lose 1v1s due to my shaky aim, and the item I buy the most in Bed Wars is the Fireball. So that should tell you all you need to know about that. I am not qualified to be a sweat, therefore I am not a sweat. And yet I find it annoying when people complain about sweats. Maybe I'm just a sweat at heart, but with a casual player's skills, but I am so tired of people complaining about them. Why is that? Mostly the delivery. I'll be in a game with randoms, and we're losing to someone who's really good. That's already a bummer, but then I hear this grunt, and I just know it's coming. I know someone's gonna complain about the person on the other team being too good. There's this stirring I hear. They're getting up, their vocal cords are moving into formation. I already know what's coming.
Oh, are you serious? This guy is such a sweat. He's so lucky. I literally shot him 500 times and he's so sweaty.
I'm not saying that sweats don't antagonize casuals. This is not a one-way battle, you know. Sweats can be very arrogant and irritating. They're the type of people to write GG too easy. But in these battles between people who are saying, you have no life, and people who reply, leaderboard, the casual complainers are always more annoying. This might just be my personality, but when I hear someone complaining about a sweat, I also just kind of see it as an excuse. It's kind of like the new way to blame lag. Like in the past, people used to blame lag, they used to blame hacking. You know, that was the way people coped for not being good. But now they blame someone else for being too good. They do that. A lot of people, this is super normal. People will blame someone else for being too good. And when you think about being mad at someone for being better, it really starts to sound like the definition of a skill issue of a cope. I will distinguish. There's definitely nothing wrong with complaining about toxic players. Like someone who's using a broken strategy that takes no skill and they rub it in your face, like I'm on the same page. Those people are annoying. You know, skillless strategies are annoying. But complaining about someone just for being better than you, like if you're using the same kit and the other person, you know, is just wins, you're on the same playing field and everything, and you say that they play too much, like you try to shame them by saying they play too much, that's sad. Who are any of us to decide how skilled we should be or to limit the dedication someone can have for their favorite game? But I hear you. What about the 50-year-old dad who just came home from his job as a roofer? He just wants to sit down and play Warzone with his son. He doesn't deserve to be tormented by sweats. Well, here's the thing about the 50-year-old roofer. The 50-year-old roofer doesn't complain. The 50-year-old roofer has got better things to do. The most you'll hear from the 50-year-old roofer when you kill him is,
"Ah, you got me."
And that just makes you feel guilty. Overall, sweats, I don't think they should tune it down. I think playing games competitively is beautiful. I want to see how far people can go with it. Sweats should not be ashamed for trying their hardest. That is a bad mentality for people to have. How did I get this radical opinion? People whining. I didn't used to feel this way before, but people over the years have melted my ears with their whining. The casual whiners, you have made me this way. If you complain about sweats, you have made me this way. Like if you're playing ranked Valorant and you're like in a high rank and someone is like, oh my gosh, that guy's such a sweat. He's way too dedicated to winning and trying his hardest and he's better than me. Like, come on. Let's stop that. This has been a Lufa second channel upload. Thanks for watching. I am Lufa.